listening to Watchers, the show where two women from opposite ends of New Jersey watch more than one movie that features just like a pile of like worms and or maggots and or snakes.
Oh, very, very The Craft.
Very The Craft.
Yeah, no rats though, thank God.
I'm happy for you, no rats. Again, I would prefer.
I feel like if we had lore as a podcast, if we were like a really big podcast, I think that which is worse, rats or roaches conversation would be like a significant moment in the podcast.
I think that's right.
Would you rather step on a roach or a rat?
And you've had now over, I think, a year to think about that. And for you,
roach.
Well, I wouldn't want to step on a rat because I wouldn't want to hurt the rat.
Squish. It's the squish.
Yeah, that's gross. But I'd rather be in proximity to a rat than a roach.
No. Neither is good, but no.
Did we ask this question if you had to hold one in your hand?
I think we did.
And you said roach?
I think so. So here's the thing. There's a core trauma in my life that is being bitten by a pet gerbil on my nose. I was doing the thing.
Cutest way to get bitten by a gerbil, though.
It was the opposite. I was just like holding it to my face because I was a child and like didn't realize you don't put animals in front of your face if you don't know what they're going to do. And it bit my nose and it like wouldn't let go. Like I had a little like scar on my nose for a while. God. It was terrifying. And I continued to have small rodents as pets for years.
I was just going to say, I've been bitten. There's no way it hasn't. If this hasn't come up yet, I will be shocked. But have we talked about the fact that my mom used to raise show guinea pigs? And that at one point in my life, I had 22 guinea pigs.
I feel like this is something that you have mentioned to me once before, but it's gotten kind of mixed in with the lore of the raccoons and the pet raccoon and the chickens in the school bus. And
a lot of critters in my life.
I think, yeah.
And I just think rats are like guinea pig adjacent.
They are. I objectively understand this, but as someone who lived in New York City for 7.5 years, or 7 years or whatever, I can't get away from the fact that like you would be walking home at night and one would like run over your foot, or that like I took the trash out one night in Providence and one ran over my hands. Like there's something about them. I think it's the tails. Anyway, I'm Jodie and you're Andrea.
And I'm Andrea.
And we watched The Lost Boys. And
we did.
It felt. Can I call it a romp?
Can I
call this movie a romp?
It's a total romp. You can so feel something I learned doing the little bit of research for this movie. We'll start here and then we can be a little more structured, I guess. We'll see how it goes.
Sure.
Is that it was written more as a sort of Goonies feel, and it was going to be younger actors, and there's still some of that energy in this movie.
The original script, which was written by Janice Fisher and James Jeremias, was more of a kids movie, like Goonies adjacent.
Right, a kid-led adventure movie.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those. Mm-hmm. But then when Joel Schumacher came on board, he didn't want to do that. He was like, we don't need another one of those. Like he had just come off St. Elmo's Fire, which was a huge hit. And he was like, if I can do this with like adolescents and older teenagers and, make it more like sexy and appeal to this specific demographic that I'm in. And so that's kind of what ended up happening. They brought in Jeffrey Bohm to write to do a new take on it, to sex it up.
To sex and rock and roll it up. I read somewhere. And I think that's funny because I would have obviously...
Oh, wait, no, I have the actual quote. Hold on.
Thank you.
Because this is good. Bohm was requested by director Joel Schumacher to rewrite the screenplay, hoping to, quote, sex up the plot and up the ante on laughs and the violent disposal of vamps. The violent disposal of vamps is a great sentence.
Yeah, that's really good. And he did it, but I do think I love this movie. I haven't watched it in probably at least 10 years.
Totally.
I had so much fun with it. So I don't wish they had done the other version instead, but I would love to see that movie.
Yeah, that'd be really fun. Also, so Jeffrey Bohm, the guy that did the rewrite, is our first Jersey connection.
Oh.
He was born in Rochester, New York, but he grew up in Fair Lawn, New Jersey, which is the town next to where I went to high school.
Yeah.
And the town my sister-in-law is from. So he only lived there for like his childhood, but yeah.
Okay.
I noted it not only because it was Jersey, but it's like so specifically tiny Bergen County town. So
Aren't all the Bergen County towns tiny because y'all
except for
70, 53?
72, 71 or 73. Well, all but Paramus and Hackensack. Those are big towns.
Eck.
Yeah. But yeah, it was written by, like I said, Janice Fisher and James Jeremias, originally rewritten by Jeffrey Boehm.
I would love to, I'm sorry that I'm harping on it. I would love to read that original script.
Oh, yeah, totally. I had a quote from one of the two original writers that was writing the like Goonies style screenplay. And they said, I had read Anne Rice's interview with a vampire, and in that there was a 200-year-old vampire trapped in the body of a 12-year-old girl. Since Peter Pan had been one of my all-time favorite stories, I thought, what if the reason Peter Pan came out at night and never grew up and could fly was because he was a vampire?
I mean, it's not a bad theory.
It's just such a funny connection to make. It's such a weird, like, origin story for the idea. Like, what if he flew because he was a vampire, not because he was Peter Pan? Like,
well, especially because I don't know that the lore of vampires flying, other than because they can turn into bats.
Yeah,
really
it's not their main thing. It's the biting that I always think of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It reminds me of all those little, film theories of Jigsaw is Kevin McAllister from Home Alone grown up. Like, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like this person's pet theory that then... the Frog brothers, Edgar Allan Frog.
Yep.
That in the original, they were going to be twin... vampire hunting Boy Scouts.
Yeah. Cub Scouts.
How are Cub Scouts? How? Yeah. I'm obsessed with that. That's so cute.
I know.
I'm just picturing these two pudgy little...
Yeah. Well, when we make our movie about the two people, the two cousins, the teen adventure comedy about going to hunt the Jersey Devil, we can have two little Cub Scout boys with their gadgets and stuff.
Oh, I love it.
Because one of the things that I said to you in a text this morning was, I kept expecting... I never remember which one's Edgar and which one's Alan, but the one that's not Corey Feldman, I kept expecting him to open his coat and have a boxing glove on a spring.
Yeah, not enough gadgets in this movie. It's the only thing this movie's missing is booby traps and gadgets.
It gets there a little bit with the water guns of Holy Water, which I always loved.
That's true.
Yeah, so the rewrite by Jeffrey Boehm, he unfortunately he passed quite young. He passed when he was in his early 50s, but he also worked on Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Yeah.
He's got a short list of films, but it includes things like Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, Lethal Weapon 2. He had some, really big moments, but unfortunately, he passed quite young. But he also worked on Funny Farm.
Yeah, I noticed that too. What a fun, kind of varied but short, like you said, sadly, list of credits.
Yeah. Our other behind the scenes folks, we've of course got Joel Schumacher, who was coming off of St. Elmo's Fire. After Lost Boys did The Client, Falling Down, and then became most well known, I think, for the Batman movies. He did Batman and Robin, which was a little...
And Batman Forever.
Batman Forever, yeah.
Which I was 9, and as I've mentioned, obsessed with Jim Carrey. That's a movie that if we watched it for this podcast, there'd be no reason for us to, but if we did, I would have a really hard time, because I think that people probably think that movie is objectively bad, and I loved it so much as a kid.
I never had much of an attachment to those movies. I did watch a few of them. I remember I watched Batman Forever. I liked Jim Carrey. I liked that movie. I liked Val Kilmer. And I watched Batman and Robin, I think. But I'm not a superhero movie type of person, so I just don't care. I'm not attached to these things, so to me it's just entertainment. But
right. That's probably part of it, because neither am I. I'm especially not a DC person. And so I didn't have that going into it. But those first few Batman movies are so good.
The thing I remember most about Batman and Robin is how Alicia Silverstone was basically shamed for being a normal-sized human in that outfit.
Yeah, terrible.
Yeah. Unfortunately, after Batman and Robin, things seemed to kind of go downhill for his career anyway. And then he passed away in 2020. But he was fascinating as a person. He grew up in New York and started doing drugs super, super young, and was openly gay way before many people were. And his dad died when he was a little kid. His mom died when he was like pretty young still.
Oh.
And he still managed to like, he still lived to be in his 80s and made a whole bunch of really amazing stuff. And like, it's just, I don't know. I found him, I didn't know much about him before this.
Yeah.
So interesting guy. Basically, actually, speaking of Jim Carrey, he has a lot of kind things to say about Joel Schumacher, and like also Matthew McConaughey, like basically credits him with launching his career. So, interesting
nice.
guy.
Yeah.
Not someone who I knew his name, but I wasn't like familiar with.
Yeah.
Oh, Andrea, you know
Jodie.
what else he's known for as a writer? This is like a huge part of your personality.
Joel Schumacher?
Yeah. Look up its writing credits.
Did he write The Wiz?
Uh-huh.
How didn't I know he wrote The Wiz?
I saw that and I was like, oh my God, Andrea's going to lose her mind. Or I assumed you already knew.
I didn't know that. What the heck?
Yep.
Whoa, hold on. Wow, great. Wow, this is so exciting because now we have another tangential Jersey connection.
Oh.
So there are 3 credited writers for The Wiz. One obviously being L. Frank Baum. One being Joel Schumacher. Third being William F. Brown. Guess where William F. Brown was born?
Where?
Jersey City.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, his only writing credits are for 2 TV shows that are from like the 60s and then The Wiz, but still.
Huh. Amazing.
Cool.
Yeah, no, I was like,
Wow.
I saw that and I was like, Andrea
I can't
must
believe
know this.
I don't know how I didn't know that.
Yeah, we have a lot of tangential Jersey connections in this movie.
That's exciting. And we have one really fun connection is sort of the word
Yeah, I don't know any. You're going to tell me this one later as a surprise.
Yes.
Because I did not find it. So, okay, let's move on from Schumacher. I just wanted to make sure that we got
thank
that.
you. That's exciting.
Yeah. Actually, the other interesting thing about Schumacher is that he started out as like a production designer and went to Parsons for fashion.
Yeah.
So he has like the artistic background kind of getting into it and then kind of shifted to direction and production and screenwriting. This movie it wasn't one of those that we thought was successful and wasn't. It actually was successful.
Yeah, we finally got it right.
Yeah, 32 million off of a budget of like 8.5. You were what, like 2 when this came out?
I
1?
I would have turned 1 in January of this year.
Oh my God.
I did in fact turn 1.
I was 11, I think,
Jodie,
when this came out.
Should we tell everybody what today is?
Oh God.
Everybody say happy birthday, Happy birthday, Jodie. Everybody say happy birthday, Jodie.
Yay. Yeah, we're recording on my birthday because oh, wait, the applause, right.
Happy birthday.
Oh my God. Yes. It is my birthday. I am a Libra.
Do you want to tell everybody what you want most for your birthday?
What do I want most for my birthday? A vacation?
I was thinking a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts that just says happy birthday, Jodie.
Oh, yeah, you can do that too. But yeah, I would love a vacation. I would love for, some time off to like be in a cabin somewhere and just like knit by a fire. That's what I would like for my birthday. But a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts would also be great.
Because, it's more realistic than getting some time off in October.
Yeah, seriously. Last month and this month, I'm just flat out the whole time. But yeah, happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday, Jodie.
So I will say this was when I was reading like Stephen King and was really into vampires and really into like horror and supernatural stuff. So I watched this movie so many times.
Same. This might be the first movie that got me into vampires. Like if it weren't for The Lost Boys, I might have not been.
Which is really funny because famously this movie does not seem to care at all about any rules of vampires or like any actual specifics. You know what
I realized watching it today?
Nobody bites anyone.
Nobody bites.
We don't see it.
We don't see a single person get bit. And the only blood anybody drinks is from a bottle. Yeah.
What? I know.
What the heck?
We also see Max try to bite the mom, but then gets interrupted.
Yeah.
I know. I wonder if there's a JSTOR paper somewhere about the AIDS panic and the vampire situation.
Mm-hmm. Maybe. I was going to say lack of penetration.
Yeah, well, also, I mean, this movie, when I watched it this time, reminded me, but I hadn't realized how thin the vampire part was. This is like, it was funny. Derogatory referred to as a music video in one of the reviews I read. And like, that kind of fits. It's very 1987.
It's weird that I just don't care.
I don't care at all.
It doesn't matter to me
I don't care at all. There's plenty of other vampire things that take the vampire part super seriously. We don't need them all to do that.
Yeah, and I was thinking, like, do we think, like, you know, the movies that... I'm thinking of Twilight. Do you think Stephanie Myers? I actually don't know.
Don't care.
I said that as if I needed people to know I haven't read the books, but
yeah,
whatever her name is.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure which one it is. But would have felt so free with her roles if the Lost Boys
Are we blaming Twilight on this movie?
Maybe.
Don't do that to this movie. There's a lot of behind the scenes sort of connections with, like we said, the Goonies and other sort of 80s classics. The production company, Richard Donner or Donner's Productions, that sort of, it's him and his wife is the production company, but he got his breakthrough with, I think writing and or directing The Omen in 76 and then directed Superman, like the one with Christopher Reeves, the like original. Mm-hmm.
Oh wait, I did. I said,
and then did the Goonies. So that's that connection. Mm-hmm. And Scrooged.
I love Scrooged.
I know,
I
too.
love Scrooged.
But also significantly in the 90s, he was the executive producer of Tales from the Crypt.
Cool.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah. And then became, like, his production company has made billions, I think, because he's did the X-Men series. They're all under his brand. But the one thing I want to talk about, I've been really getting into like researching the cinematographers recently. And Michael Chapman, the cinematographer for this film, did you look up his background?
I did.
Jesus Christ.
Tell us everything, though.
I mean, okay. His personal background is super interesting. As a cinematographer, he collaborated with Scorsese on, little films called Taxi Driver and Raging Bull.
Ever heard of him?
Yeah.
Ever heard of him?
Also worked on the remake of Invasion of the Body Snatchers in 78. And he did The Last Waltz.
I know.
Which is like...
Yeah.
Crazy. But, so that's his sort of film history. And I will say a lot of the reviews mentioned that the movie is really elevated by the cinematography and how he uses these like super dark, moody spaces and then like washes of color. And it's really like rich. And the music video comparison is sort of... an easy sort of 1980s read on it, but it's not. Like his visual sense is really a huge part of why this film works.
Yeah.
Like watching it again, I remember specifically all of those sort of soaring shots through the air and the like, it's just really beautiful.
The shot of all of the vampires hanging from the train, like that pulled really far, it just looks, it looks so 80s, which is what's so fun about it now, but it still looks great.
Oh, it totally does. The color in it is gorgeous. It's very like, it immediately kind of pulls you in to that being in that space. Like I loved looking at it again. Little interesting background about him. I don't know what this relates to, probably nothing, but I just love someone who goes from one very different thing into a new career. He was born in New York, raised in Wellesley, Mass. He graduated from a college prep school, attended Columbia College, majored in English, but then he worked as a brakeman for the Erie-Lackawanna Railroad in the Midwest. And then he was drafted into the Army in 58, served in the Signal Corps, stationed in New Jersey.
Oh.
Yep, another Jersey connection. And then at an air base in Greenland. And then after his service, he came home and his father-in-law was in the film industry. And so he started working as a camera operator on The Godfather. I don't know that was his first one, but it was like the one where he sort of just started to be seen for his talent. And Jaws.
Unbelievable. What a cool. And then like looking at his full, we won't read it all, even though I would love to, but even just like looking at his credits that he was like DP for, it's so varied and so many, like so many movies that I think or a lot of them, I should say, are known for, like Space Jam, for example.
Yeah.
He also directed, he was also the director of photography for Michael Jackson's The Bad video.
Oh, wow.
Like, such cool, varied, again, I said Space Jam, Primal Fear, a movie that I have a real soft spot for. Kindergarten Cop, a movie I have a real soft spot for. Like, just a weird...
Yeah. I know. I kind of, like, the last few months of doing these movies has made me sort of want to spend a little more time focusing on the cinematographers, like looking into them more as like a little side project. So the film shot, its fictional town, of course, Santa Clara, was Santa Cruz.
Santa Carla.
Wait, is it Santa Carla?
It's 100% Santa Carla.
I have always flipped that in my head.
Yeah, of course you have, because...
Santa Clara, it's like a real...
yeah. But no.
Santa Carla. The murder capital of the world.
I think that's probably why they had to go with a fictional town more than anything.
It is, yeah. Santa Cruz agreed to let them film there if they would change the name.
It's funny
But it's exactly Santa Cruz. Like, they didn't change anything else.
No. Santa Cruz has such a specific, like, vibe and look, especially at that time. It feels like you couldn't pretend it was anywhere else.
To me, it reads a little bit more, because I don't think I've ever been to Santa Cruz, but it reminds me.
I haven't either. What I'm saying is how it's portrayed in film, I think, more than anything else. But yeah.
Yeah. It reminds me of like Venice in LA, like all the people out on the street, like, different types of punks, different, it's, yeah.
I read that Jordan Peele was so inspired by The Lost Boys that he promised himself he'd film a movie in Santa Cruz. And that's where Us is set.
Oh, amazing.
And there's all of those, in the beginning, where the like sort of entrance to I almost called it the Upside Down. What do they call it in that movie? And the underground. And so that's Us starts, and there's like a lot of pivotal stuff happening. It's set in Santa Cruz, so.
Yeah, I think the setting was when I was a kid and watched this, so like appealing and interesting to me because it's so different. Like, growing up with the Jersey Boardwalk and stuff like that, you have that connection, but it's just California boardwalks and California like beaches are there's such lore around them if you grow up on the other side of the country.
I was just going to say, I think maybe that's why. It's because it is like the bizarro version. Like, especially
it's
in
like
this movie.
Seaside with vampires and no Guidos.
Yeah, exactly. And even their hideout, like,
I was obsessed with their hideout. I wanted to live there so badly. I wanted to be adopted by the vampires and live in their like cave with all the nooks and crannies and the old like, stuff from the hotel.
If I were Laddie, I would not be trying to go home.
No. Oh my God. Yeah, there's nothing I like better than like a secret lair.
And we don't have enough of those anymore in movies.
I loved it. Schumacher talked about this actually, because one of the reasons that he didn't want to do the kids movie version was he felt like, he said, on my first reading, I knew I didn't want to have the Lost Boys living in a cave. Hollywood caves are always plastic and unrealistic. I wanted their home to have a Death in Venice style Victorian atmosphere. Once the studio accepted that, I then asked to make more changes.
Well, and it's so fun because then you do have that connection to like Dracula having that Victorian. They get to hang out in a place with the big chandeliers and
and they reference the San Francisco earthquake, which is like the natural disaster side of things. I feel like was a little strange detour that I think they could have actually explored more, like because they mentioned that it's this old resort that kind of fell into the ground during the earthquake. To me, that's like, ooh, what happened? I want to know like all about that. Like, that's a whole other movie.
Yeah, and we don't know how old these vampires are. It would have been fun to find out that they were there then, like that it's been their place ever since.
They're vampires, but they're only like, 80 years old.
Well, it's like they're vampires who were turned in 1985 instead of 87. They're so of the time.
Yeah. There's a couple of fun behind the scenes, like shooting things. Apparently, like similar to when we talked about Stand By Me, this is like an older cast and a younger cast that kind of like split and hung out together.
Yeah.
And the younger kids would be like, you know, going to bed early, and the older kids apparently would put tinfoil on the hotel window so they could sleep all day, like because they were shooting at night. They were being vampires. Yeah. Corey Feldman said it was like summer camp. We tried to be the bad boys, but the worst we could do was sneak into the hotel swimming pool after midnight.
It seemed like a fairly strifeless set, which I was surprised. I thought we were gonna learn.
With Corey Feldman and Corey Haim and all the drama that happened with them after, not drama, like tragedy that happened with them after the fact.
Yeah, they were still this was still fairly early, really, in their
This was where
careers.
they met, the casting for this movie. Yeah. This is the beginning of the two Corys.
Isn't that funny? I read Corey Feldman saying, like, they'd been set up to be rivals. Corey Haim was dating an ex of his or something, or a girl that he had a crush on, whatever.
The teen magazine drama.
Yeah. And then Haim called him and was like, we should get together. We're going to be in this movie. And he said they were like inseparable.
Best buds. For the rest of their lives, basically.
It's really, I mean, we know it's heartbreaking, but it's just very sweet.
For both of them. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I cannot, as someone who grew up in the 80s and was like a preteen during the Corey Feldman, Corey Haim heyday, like it was inescapable. Mm-hmm. They were, when we talk about like, this is going to sound crazy when I say this, like the Beatles being mobbed by teenage girls, like, and NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys, like that was what was going on with Corey Feldman and Corey Haim. Yeah. It was crazy.
I was a little too young to have been aware of it at the time.
You were an infant.
But
you were a little too young as an infant.
Well, I just mean like across the these all of the movies and stuff they were in, and like I didn't get to until I was
License to Drive.
Like all movies I saw when I was very young, but still post. I always forget Corey. Like I remember when he died. Yeah, but that's because I was already well into my. I was what?
Yeah, he died in like the 2010s. Yeah, 2010.
So how old was I in 2010? 96?
I could not tell you.
Wait, was I 24? Yeah.
Andrea, I cannot do math.
That's 15 years ago. I would have been 24.
Yeah.
In my head, like it's...
He died like River Phoenix age.
Yes.
Like when we were younger. Yeah,
but it's just because they both had such a, heartbreaking drop off in their, So.
Yeah, he struggled with addiction very, very seriously, and he ended up passing of pneumonia. But he ended up not being. He had a lot of promise as a young actor, like more than we remember, I think.
Yeah,
like we'll get to the Roger Ebert review, but like Ebert reviewed him in Lucas and could not have praised his acting abilities more. And it's a little bit like we talked about River Phoenix and the tragedy of losing him as an actor. But I do actually think that because Corey Haim didn't die when his career was at its height, he had a slow decline through drug addiction. We don't think of him in the same way.
Right.
But if you read Ebert on Lucas, it's like we lost a possible great actor. He's so charming in this movie.
I know. And it seems pretty effortless. He's great.
His comedic timing in this movie makes it for me.
Yeah. And I love Lucas was like one of my favorite movies as a kid. It's horrific knowing that that's where his onset abuse started, and it's really sad, but that movie meant a lot to me as a kid. I loved it so much.
Yeah. Being a young impressionable preteen, I mean, it was he was a big deal. The two of them. I was more of a Corey Haim girl than a Corey Feldman girl. I think we talked about this last time.
Yeah.
But the quote from Ebert is on Lucas. He won a Young Artist Award for his performance in that movie. Roger Ebert said, he creates one of the most three-dimensional, complicated, interesting characters of any age in any recent movie. If he can continue to act this well, he will never become a half-forgotten child star, but will continue to grow into an important actor. He is that good. That is high, high praise from Ebert. So it makes it even more heartbreaking. It really,
really sad.
Yeah. Other folks of note, so Jameson Newlander, who plays Corey Feldman's brother, seems to have mostly done just like this and the other Lost Boys franchise stuff.
Yeah, he was cut. He was cut from. They're called Thirst in the Tribe, and one of them, his scenes were cut from, which is, so he's credited but not actually in it, which is a shame.
Yeah.
I'd be furious.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We also have Richard Gilmore.
He's Richard Rich Sr. in the Richard Rich movie, which is another like movie that I loved as a kid for some
Yeah.
Macaulay Culkin was in it and I loved him.
Yeah.
I also know him. I mean, I know him first and best from this, but also, and then again, I didn't watch Gilmore Girls, but of course I knew.
Yeah.
I'm part of the world and I listened to the podcast about it.
I think when I watched, I didn't watch Gilmore Girls religiously, but I did watch some of it. I think one of my friends was really into it. And when I first started watching it, I immediately hated him because I've only associated him with Max from this movie.
That's so funny. I also know him from a movie called The Face on the Milk Carton it's a Carolyn B. Cooney book about a girl who finds out she was kidnapped as a child and goes back to her original family, and he plays the father of her biological family. So that's another thing. And I says a lot about my upbringing that my dream was to find out that I had been adopted.
I know. I used to say that all the time. My dad would just be like, have you seen the rest of your family? Like, we all have the same fucking face. Myself, my brothers, my father, like, we're identical. Yeah, no, I was forever, I forever had my opinion of this actor shaped by the Lost Boys. Like, I could never see him as anything other than like head vampire after this.
I think they do a really good job of playing with that.
Yeah.
Where like it would be so obvious if he were the head vampire, and then they refute it because you see his reflection and all, and then it's because they're playing fast and loose.
Yeah,
with the
well,
rules,
you invited him into the house, so therefore nothing applies.
Which is totally not true, but and it's because, like, at the beginning when they're in his store and he says, I told you to stay off the boardwalk, the fact that for a second when I was watching this, I was like, oh, it's so odd that they listen to this. Oh, right. Duh.
Right.
Of course they do, but they're, like, pretty subtle.
But it's another way to set up that, like, well, it obviously isn't him because he doesn't like these kids that come around the boardwalk. Yeah.
It's, like, pretty well done, all
I know.
of that.
Yeah. They don't care about much of the details, but, you know, they did set that up pretty well. I cannot overstate how much Jamie Gertz was the most beautiful person in the movies in this period of time in the 80s.
You can, because even now watching it, again, I grew up loving her, so maybe that's part of it. But like, she's also, I'm in love. Yeah.
So she was discovered by Norman Lear, actually. In a talent search, a nationwide talent search, and then studied drama at NYU. She was in an episode of Different Strokes when she was a child with Andrew Dice Clay.
Perfect.
But this is my favorite fact, actually. She had a recurring role in The Facts of Life as Blair's friend, which I didn't make that connection. I did watch The Facts of Life. As Blair's friend and schoolmate with the name of Boots St. Clair. Boots St. Clair. That's an incredible fucking name.
Really good.
Yeah. She also was in a bunch of really rough films in the 80s, like Solar Babies and Crossroads, and then something called Listen to Me with Kirk Cameron.
Yeah, I don't know what that is, but
then, 1991, 92, she is in Jersey Girl, a movie that you and I were talking about before we started recording that neither of us has actually seen. And her father's last name is Bologna. I'm watching this movie maybe this week. Like, I may just watch it and then we can talk about it later.
We are eventually going to have to cover it. Like
100%. She's another one of those actresses who married like a hedge fund manager, basically, or some sort of like big financial investor. She's part owner of the Atlanta Hawks basketball team.
Man, that's the way to get so rich. You got to marry a guy who can, or be, girl boss your way into being able to afford to buy
a whole basketball team. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know that we need to talk too much about Corey Feldman. We've talked about him in the past. It's sort of a tragic story with a lot of complications around things he's done, things that were done to him. I don't think we need to kind of really go too far into it.
No, the only thing I wanted to talk about him specifically is the voice choice that I love. I love it so much. I'm so glad they let him do this voice. I couldn't find anything anywhere. I have my thoughts of why where that voice came from and what he's doing. But I couldn't find him talking about it other than saying, like, this is the first character where I really had to play somebody who felt totally different from who I am. Which, and I mean, knowing how much more connected he felt to Teddy and Stand By Me, it's like, I'd rather him be closer to for his own sake, but.
Yeah. Other folks so we have another Jersey connection. I'm telling you, they're all over this movie. Jason Patrick grew up in Upper Saddle River, New Jersey, and went to fucking Don Bosco.
Wow.
He went to Don Bosco.
Wow.
I went to a dance at Bosco when I was in like 8th grade. So that's one of our other Jersey connections. He also was up for the singer. He was up to play Jim Morrison in the Doors movie that came out in 91, which went to Val Kilmer.
You could see that weird long shot on Jim Morrison's face in this movie for some reason.
The Doors poster features so heavily in this film.
What? I mean, it's because they do the
Echo and the Bunnyman cover.
Echo and the Bunnyman cover. Like, but it's still it gets so much screen time.
I know. Well, also, like, so I went to college in the mid-90s, and it was during the time when everyone was listening to, like, Pink Floyd and the Doors and Led Zeppelin and all of that. There was, like, a big, I don't know, like, I was weirdly into Jim Morrison as, like, a concept, and LSD and the 60s and, like, all of that sort of psychedelic period of time in music. And so I do think that it was just kind of in the air at the time.
But it feels a little bit like the makers of this movie knew that in real life Jim Morrison had been a vampire, and they want
he was like the vampire king in the background, like
offset, like in real life, and they're trying to like clue us in.
Right. Yeah, instead of like an altar with like a painting of Jim Morrison, it's like a poster from it's like the classic Doors poster.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
that does kind of, it felt like he was like the patron saint of the vampire crew.
Like when they're like, oh, there's one more, it's not the head.
Yeah, it's Jim Morrison.
It's a Jim Morrison cameo.
We've got to go hunt down Jim Morrison.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really funny. So other folks, Kiefer Sutherland, I think this is the hottest Kiefer Sutherland has ever been to me personally in this movie.
Huh. Yeah, because he's basically Snake. Snake? That's his name in, wow. I'm doing a good job recalling names from Stand By Me. He's basically Snake with
with teeth.
Teeth and a longer leather jacket. Yeah, it's pretty good stuff.
He's, I think part of the reason I think this is the hottest he's ever been is because of the homoerotic like vibe between him and Michael.
It's more than a vibe.
Yeah.
This is one of those, the subtext is the text. Is text.
Yeah.
It is. And I mean, they, some of them are pretty open about it. Like Alex Winter is like, yeah, like as someone who's like, I grew up with like around a ton of like queer and trans and gender fluid people. And like, yeah. And then somebody else, I forget who maybe
Kiefer Sutherland has even referenced it.
Yeah.
And it was his part. So, yeah.
I think it might be Jason Patrick. Somebody in the movie said something like, the only thing that I kind of clocked as LGBT was that there's a Rob Lowe poster in Corey Haim's bedroom, which is like, that's the least.
Yeah.
There's so much. It's all over this movie.
Yeah. I think now looking back, like the reason, because I never found Kiefer Sutherland like super hot in anything, but in this movie, I was like, okay. So, and also Flatliners. I keep mentioning Flatliners. I feel like I need to go back and watch it and see why I'm remembering it so, like...
You definitely brought it up
many times.
Multiple times.
I mean, there's a lot of overlap in cast and production because of the time period and, like, who was hot at the moment. But, yeah, I think I might need to go back and watch that. Other folks we should talk about. I want to talk about Dianne Wiest, but before we do that, the guy that plays Grandpa, he was mostly a theater actor, but the description of him on his, I think it was on Wikipedia, but the like blurb, the very beginning says like he's in 400 theater productions, blah, blah, blah. And then his most notable roles came after middle age, and he was often cast as a dithering authority figure or grandfatherly elder. It's like, that's such a specific slot to be slotted into.
Well, and he crushes it. He's so fun in this movie.
Oh, he's the best.
He's like bordering on cartoon character in a movie where nobody feels super realistic in the first place, but it's so good. He's also in like half of the episodes of Blossom.
I don't think I realized that.
He's Blossom and Joey's grandfather.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, if I couldn't live in the underground destroyed resort in a cave, I would have wanted to live in Grandpa's house.
It's so good.
It's so good.
These kids should be so much more excited about the house they're moving into. It rules.
I know. The fact that he keeps popping random taxidermy next to Sam's bed and then Sam has to keep putting them in the closet is so funny.
And just his like off-screen romance with the widow Johnson.
And the horn on the car. Like
his old fart shelf.
Yeah.
His double thick Oreos and
the fact that like he's like showing Sam the car and he's like, you know, thinking they're going to go into town, and then he starts the car, sits in it for a minute, turns it back off. He's like, that's the closest I get to town.
It's just like,
yeah.
And then of course that he comes through at the end.
Yep.
They really do. I keep saying this, but like a pretty good job setting stuff like that.
Yeah, they plant some seeds.
Yeah. He also gets the like closing line at the end. The one
yes, the classic.
Yeah.
One thing about living in Santa Carla I could never stomach. All the damn vampires.
All the damn vampires.
In my head, I remembered him saying all the fucking vampires, but whatever, he would have.
I don't think this movie we're going to do a plot recap
No, not really.
Right? Like, really?
I mean, vampires, they move to a new town, there's vampires. They have to kill the head vampire because one of them got bit.
Before Michael is convinced
to kill someone
and become a full vampire.
Yeah.
Again, also that's not a vampire rule at all.
I know.
Or a half vampire. If you drink any blood, that's the other thing.
I know.
Drinking was like, blood doesn't in any other.
I know. What year did the Interview with the Vampire movie come out with Kirsten Dunst?
94.
Okay, so yeah, a good bit after. Then this was definitely my introduction to vampire lore outside of like in the movies. I think.
Yeah. It must have been for me too. I don't know what
miseducation on vampires.
Yeah.
I mean, the last person that I think I want to talk about is just Dianne Wiest. Like, she's so good.
I love her.
I love her too. Like, I said before, I don't think we were recording, that I, in my head, remembered her as being much more, having much more agency in this movie. Her role is really just sort of like sad sap mom who just like, yeah, she doesn't have a lot to do.
I like that we see the reality of single mom post-divorce. You know, like
her relationship with her dad, the grandpa character, is really cute.
Yeah.
Like I think you infer a lot about her as a person through him and the way that they interact. So that is something, maybe that's what I was thinking, is like I kind of associate her as more of like a free spirit kind of person because she is the child of this crazy guy with a closet full of taxidermy.
Right. That makes sense.
Do you have specific roles you associate her with? Because to me, it's this first and
Edward
foremost.
Scissorhands. This and Edward Scissorhands. Actually, in my head, I was like, when I went to pull up her IMDb, I thought I was going to have way more movies.
Me too.
But it's just because she is such a star that like...
Yeah, she's so recognizable.
One or two, and she's so good in these kinds of movies. Like this and Edward Scissorhands as this like she fits in this world while also being the like kind of sweet.
She's like the female version of like the straight man in these like odd movies, you know,
but in a way where it's like it doesn't,
but not in a boring way, in the way that like she appears to be the straight man, but she's more than that. And
what the straight man would be if this were a real world. Do you know what I mean? Like,
100%.
She's great.
Oh, I love her. I also just like, as someone who only had short hair once in her life and like because of patriarchy felt very uncomfortable being a person with short hair as someone who identifies as a woman, like I really appreciate her just really rocking that short hair and looking amazing.
Yeah. She's got a great face for a little pixie cut. But
her outfits, like she's got a very cool like California mom vibe.
Totally.
Yeah. I like her so much. I think that's it for me for the cast anyway.
Yeah, me too. I don't have anything else I mean, Alex Winter, of course.
Yeah, of course.
He seems like the best. Also, he has Man, the hair in this movie, everybody's got something going on, but his is but it's the longest mullet I've ever seen.
Oh, I know. The styling in this movie, actually, one person I didn't look up was costume design.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Because, man.
What were we thinking?
Well, it wasn't like listed right away. Costume design, The Lost Boys. Susan Becker. Lost Boys, Flatliners again. I love it. True Romance.
St. Elmo's Fire.
True Romance. Body of Evidence, Father of the Bride, Flatliners, Days of Thunder. Lots of good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the costuming in this movie is so 1987. I went to a Halloween party last night as Madonna from the Lucky Star era, and I remember thinking like, that's 83, thinking like, this is what I was going to dress like when I was a grown-up.
Right,
when I was like 10.
Yeah.
And I really, like, this was the epitome of like cool people in 1987.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, you know, hair metal was raging and oh my God, perfect.
I could have looked at this movie. This movie could have been 5 hours long.
Yeah.
I would have been fine with it.
The costume designer for the film, Susan Becker, said that she says, my view of this film and story from the very start was that these kids were like homeless kids, banded together, like creating their own family, but no one was taking care of them. Yeah. Lost boys living in a coastal town, almost like townies in a vacation spot. So their costumes were meant to look like found items. Apparently, some of the costumes were sold for like over $100,000 in an auction.
Whoa.
Yeah, they're so iconic. Yeah, so I had mentioned earlier Ebert's review of Corey Haim and Lucas. I think if we're going to look at reviews now, he was not as big of a fan of this film. I think he gave it 2.5. Let me look. 2.5 stars. Had some classic Ebert digs.
Some classic Ebert digs, and then also if he mentions how, I mean, I get it because we just did it, but we're not professional film critics, where like all he really has to say about Jamie Gertz is how hot she is.
Yeah, he talks about it as having some potential in the beginning, but then kind of falling back on lots of cliches, which is not inaccurate, but kind of, I think, again, a little bit misses the point. He says it lacks the sense of dread that creeps out from the pages of a novel such as Anne Rice's Interviews with a Vampire and substitutes the same old cornball predictable action climax with everybody chasing everybody around with lots of screams and special effects score.
I thought he was the one, it's not his review, but I'll find it and put it in the notes, but where somebody said like it doesn't have enough scares, it's not scary enough to be a real horror movie, and it's not as funny as it thinks it is, which I think is, if I'm trying to be objective, I think that is probably true.
Sure.
It is trying to walk the line there in a way that but
it also depends on how old you were when you watched this movie. I was going
to say, like, I think some people are reviewing this movie as if it's made for an older crowd than it is, but I feel like it's exactly right for like young teens who are just old enough to start watching movies that are a little more quote unquote sexed up.
Yeah, I think it's taking the movie more seriously than the movie takes itself.
100%. I think that's true. Yes, I think that's totally true.
One of Ebert's classic digs at the end, he says, sometimes I think modern advances in special effects technology can be directly blamed for the collapse of original screenwriting. Jesus.
That is wild. I think the effects in this movie, again, it's probably because I have a real like fondness for it and a nostalgia feel, but like I love that it feels like most of the effects are practical. And
I thought they held up pretty well, actually.
Yeah.
All things considered.
Really, like when you see Michael's reflection is like fading, but not totally gone.
He's Michael J. Fox. In Back to the Future.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I love all that stuff. I think it's so charming.
I think it's the gore effects are a little cheesy looking back, like when I think it's Alex Winter's character Marco that gets killed in the bathtub, and it's like there's an extended sequence of his body just like rotting like it's in a bath of acid, like, and spewing stuff all over the guys and everything. That's kind of like cheesy 80s gore, but like that's what it was.
Well, apparently there's Corey Feldman talked about it in an article in Cinema Blend by Sean O'Connell a few years ago, and apparently part of that is on purpose. He said, I personally was traumatized by the slime.
Yeah.
People don't realize the slime that was every time we killed a vampire, Joel had decided he didn't want it to be bloody and gory. He wanted it to be able to still appeal to kids.
Yeah.
Right? So he knew that if the blood was like real blood and it looked really dark and intense, the kids would be afraid to go see it. Parents wouldn't want to show it to kids. So instead, he created this mixture of goo with glitter in it. It was full of glitter to give it a sheen, and it was really slimy and really gooey. And so once we killed the first vampire, of course, we had to match every day. So they were just covered in that gooey, glittery slime. And you can, so
but I do think that that's interesting because, like, I watched this movie probably right about when it came out, and I was 11 or 12, and I did not find it scary.
No.
I found it, like, weirdly appealing for reasons that I figured out, as puberty approached. But, like, I did not find it that scary, and I think that that's a good thing for me.
Yeah,
like,
and I really don't think it's trying that hard to be scary. It is, I think, like you said, it's a romp. Like, it's just like an event, a fun.
But I think it does. I think some people have this version of it in their heads if they saw it when they were kids that it is scary. Like, I was talking to someone last night at the party I was at, and she was saying, I brought up the movie because I was gonna, because I just watched it before I left the house. And she said, yeah, I loved that movie when I was a kid. I don't know if I want to watch it. I remember it being really scary. And I'm like, it's so not, dude.
It's so not. You'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really funny. We didn't talk about the most, actually the three most important characters in this movie.
Okay.
Number one.
The dogs.
Two most important characters are, as you said, the dogs, Nanook and Thorn. So funny that Thorn is a hellhound protecting Max the head vampire.
Yeah.
The scene when he goes after Dianne Wiest.
Yeah, Lucy, I think her name is. The mom.
Oh, her name is Lucy, which is a Dracula connection. She's like the main, one of the main women in Dracula. But you can see that dog is the nicest dog, and that the way the dog is barking is just the way a regular dog would bark, and that they've then dubbed in this awful snarling dog because it's like a lab shepherd mix.
I know.
Like, it couldn't be more of a. And then when they're at dinner and Lucy is like, someone here has really bad breath, and you're kind of like, oh my god, and then they cut to Nanook
dog
just standing like over. It's so good.
I know. One of the things that happens when I see a movie that I watched a million times but then haven't seen in like 20 years and there's an animal in it, I'm like, please tell me did I block out that the animal dies? And thank God, no. Because when there is that moment when Nanook is outside and the vampires are coming in and you're like, oh my God, and they're trying to get it back in the house. And I couldn't remember if I had just blocked out the fact that the dog got killed, but thank God, no.
No, everybody's fine. And then, of course, the third most important character in this movie,
which is
our saxophone player.
Oh my God. I forgot completely about the opening scene not opening, but like one of the first scenes with the music. Oh my God.
Tim Capello.
I completely forgot about that until I watched this movie again.
He is unbelievable. The fact that he is a real person with that aesthetic in real life, that is not an actor.
Yeah.
He's the person who he's like playing saxophone and also singing.
Yeah.
On the I Still Believe cover. He also played for years with Tina Turner.
I know. And that's actually where I knew him from.
He's incredible. He was apparently like a heroin addict who quit cold turkey before this. In 1979, he quit heroin and started bodybuilding. I love him. What a cool history.
Yeah. When that scene comes on of him playing the saxophone and singing on that stage at the beach, I was like, oh my God, how did I block this out?
It's so good. And it's direct inspiration for that John Hamm.
Yes, the SNL sketch.
Short SNL, with Andy Samberg.
Yep.
So if you haven't seen this movie, but if you haven't seen this movie, you very well might know the vibe. If you picture John Hamm ponytail saxophone, that SNL short, that's exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, he also played on one of Peter Gabriel's albums. Yeah, incredible, incredible. Oh, I like this quote from his Wikipedia page. He is notable for his muscular physique, his sexually provocative movements during performances, and a tendency to perform shirtless with oiled skin and a ponytail.
Perfect.
I think I didn't find too many reviews. The only other one I found was one from the New York Times, where they weirdly said The Lost Boys is to horror movies what Late Night with David Letterman is to television. It laughs at the form it embraces, adds a rock and roll soundtrack, and if you share its serious satiric attitude, manages to be very funny. Which actually is pretty accurate.
Yeah, I was like, wait, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Yeah,
but it
no,
sounds
it's a good
like I
thing.
think it's a good thing. My favorite review of this movie is from much later. It's from 2012. A website called That Was a Bit Mental. And now here's your review. If you want to see how to do a teenage vampire movie properly, here's a handy guide. Step 1, take the Twilight films, either DVD or Blu-ray format. Step 2, shove them right up your ass. Step 3, watch The Lost Boys instead.
Incredible. That's great.
So, yeah, that's all you need to know.
That's great. So let's talk a little bit about what came after, I guess. Or do you want to do soundtrack first?
I don't have a ton for soundtrack. It's cool. It's like pretty 80s. There's like,
Yeah, that Cry Little
covers.
Sister song was like, I think, was it for this movie? It was basically, I had a note about it. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, so the Joel Schumacher talks about the soundtrack. And he said, I'm a big Jim Morrison fan, which again, we talked about the poster in the underground lair. But he said he asked the keyboard artist from The Doors for permission to re-record "People Are Strange" with Echo and the Bunnymen. Echo and the Bunnymen. And then the Cry Little Sister theme came to him as a sample demo. Gerard McMahon, who wrote the song, sent a note saying he'd read the script and written the song for the film. It was specifically made for The Lost Boys.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I do have one more review. I'm so sorry.
No, go ahead.
I want to remind everybody that the actual best place for movie reviews is the Common Sense Media page, specifically the Kids Say reviews.
Yeah.
And so I would like to share. This is from 2 months ago. Chickenhead37, a 14-year-old teen, recommends this movie, gave it 5 stars, said it's for kids 5 and up.
Okay.
How do I sign up to be a frog brother man? Granddad might have an STI from all his girlfriends, so watch out.
Oh my God. That's the best.
That's so funny. The brother looks as if he smells and is dripping in grease. Chip/French fry fat. So not good role models. Big Dave is a bit of an oddball and his gang of goons. This title has educational value and great messages.
Oh my God. How do I sign up to be a frog brother is perfect.
I'm trying. Edgar Allan Frog.
I know. It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Should we talk about sort of the aftermath of the movie? Because it was such a huge success that they kept trying to recreate that success. And they not completely failed, but to me failed. Because as someone who loved this movie, I never saw anything else that they made.
Mm-mm. Well, there are 2 sequels.
Yeah.
And they were both direct to DVD.
Yeah. I will say, though, the first one was possibly the most successful direct-to-DVD release, ever.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It came out in 2008, and it said that apparently it performed so well that they immediately greenlit a third one, which did not do very well. But they said it covered its $5 million production cost in the first 3 weeks of release, and it sold over 1.25 million copies, a record for a direct-to-DVD release.
Whoa, that is wild.
Yeah, so it was not a huge success, but for what it was, it did really, really well. Originally, apparently, Joel Schumacher wanted to do a sequel called The Lost Girls.
Yeah, there's a script for it.
Oh, really?
I found it. I didn't have a time to read it, but all of the people talking about it on Reddit and stuff said it's pretty interesting.
Huh. I mean, if it was by the people originally involved, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
But he had nothing to do with the 2 that did get made and did not want them to exist.
Yeah. And then there's a series of comics, a limited run that I think people seem to have liked. There was a movie novelization, of course. So that was a big thing back in the day. That was one of my dream jobs. I
tried to read the summary of the third one, The Thirst, the third movie. And I got through the first paragraph and was like, this is a word salad. It says, in Washington, D.C., Edgar and Allan Frog confront a half-vampire senator who kills a congressman, leading to Allan being forced to drink vampire blood. 5 years later in California, Edgar faces eviction and is like, it literally, I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
Going on?
It made no sense whatsoever. Despite the success of that DVD release, by the way, it has a 0 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oof,
based on 7 reviews with an average rating of 2.85. Not so great.
And then the last sort of like, spinoff or whatever that I found is there is a Lost Boys musical slated to debut in spring of 2026. So
yeah,
I think we've reached.
Are you going to tell me the other Jersey connection?
Yes.
Good. I want to know.
There is a short called Lost Boys: The New Breed. It is it's like a fan-made tribute set on the Jersey Shore.
Oh my God.
In Keensburg.
Oh my God.
And it's like 8 minutes long. I'll link to it.
Okay.
It opens with, those like Santa Cruz shots on the boardwalk. Instead, it's the Jersey Shore.
They're like, I want to see this.
In an arcade. They're playing skee ball.
Hell yeah. Of course they are. Oh, The Lost Boys: New Breed is the award winner for the best horror film at the 2019 Indie Boom Film Festival. I'm definitely going to check it out.
It looks and feels very Jersey.
Okay, I can't wait. Yeah, what a good time. I was looking forward to this one, and I did not disappoint.
Absolutely.
It went so fast.
Yes.
So fast. I could not believe. So 97 minutes long, and I was like, I forgot how quickly things happen in that movie. It's like, It feels like it's 5 minutes in, and Michael's already like, oh no, I'm a vampire.
Exactly. I thought the same thing.
Yeah, it was so quick.
Mm-hmm. Oh, also, Ebert, by the way, I just forgot to say this. He's not a very close watcher. He calls Lucy a widow in the review.
Oh, yeah, she's divorced.
She's so divorced. They talk about it.
Yeah, this is not the first time recently we've noticed he's just not paying attention to detail here.
She's not the most attentive viewer, but
she's a woman. Anyway.
So, who cares?
Yeah. So are we at the point where we talk about next week?
I think so.
Oh, my God. This podcast went as fast as the movie. So next week is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Because you didn't see this one either,
I've never
right?
seen this one. Nope.
I don't think I have. Famously, I don't know what I've seen and haven't seen. Yeah, so maybe Jodie, it'll go in the other direction and I'll watch it and be like, oh, I did see this movie.
Yeah. Who could know? We'll all find out together.
Yeah. It'll be a surprise for everyone. But this movie is, again, a cult movie for a lot of women specifically.
Mm-hmm. It's ticking a few boxes for us.
Yeah. So we're going to watch Practical Magic. Mm-hmm. Just putting it out there. I feel like I should have seen it. It's 1998, so I was in college. I think I was
12.
Yeah. You would have been the perfect age for it. This is after my witchy phase. I was in my hippie phase.
But here's the thing I think about this movie. I think it's a good thing we didn't see this as younger people because, and we'll say, oh, this is a fun thing we should start doing when it's a movie neither of us have seen. I will tell you now before I watch it. I think this is a movie for witchy middle-aged women, specifically.
I have the same thing, and I think I'm confusing it with Witches of Eastwick.
We'll find out.
Yeah. But reading the little bit of, I don't want to get too much spoiled on it, but one of the reasons that it made sense to do this now is because Dianne Wiest is in this as well. Mm-hmm. But also, we had to have at least one Sandy movie.
I can't believe.
This is our first Sandra Bullock.
This is our first Sandy B movie.
Yeah. So we've got and also another one that has a sequel coming out, literally. Practical Magic 2 is coming out next year.
Yeah. Screenplay, by the way, by Robin Swikard, who also did Little Women.
Yeah.
So, she did a handful of really famous movies, but for us, that's the big one.
Yeah. Still under 2 hours, thank God. Takes place in Massachusetts. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. I'm
excited.
I feel like some of the scenes were filmed on Whidbey Island, which is a place that I've actually been.
Oh,
my cousin got married on Whidbey Island, which is off the coast of Washington State.
Yeah, I think this is a witchy movie for middle-aged women who wear big cardigans and dream of living in a house on an island kind of thing.
I imagine like lots of long skirts.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So let's see how right or wrong we are.
Exactly.
I'm not going to look any further because I don't want to spoil myself.
Yeah, same.
But it definitely has a cult following. I feel like a lot of people that we know and people that may listen to this podcast probably have already seen this and are like horrified that we haven't. So apologies in advance for my ignorance. But yeah, I'm excited. It'll be another like light but Halloween themed film for us to watch.
I just think the energy this year, the energy for me,
we need it.
I feel like for you too. It couldn't get too dark this year.
No, we need it. We, especially coming out of like Cuckoo's Nest, Girl Interrupted, Silence of the Lambs, like we needed a little bit lighter vibe for a few weeks.
Exactly.
Before we go, I do want to do a quick recommendation. So I'm not going to bring up Taskmaster. I think I'm through all of the back episodes now. There's like 20 seasons. They're on season 20, and I think I have now watched all of them. But what I did want to bring up was Task, the HBO series with Mark Ruffalo. Mm-hmm. So the reason that I wanted to bring it up was kind of the Jersey of it all. It doesn't take place in Jersey. It takes place outside Philly. Very, like, it's been getting a lot of attention for all of the attempts at a Delco accent. Mm-hmm. But one of the main characters is played by Tom Pelphrey. He plays Robbie. And Tom Pelphrey is from Central Jersey. Perfect. And there's a great clip of him on a panel talking about this show where, like, one of the panelists that's interviewing him is from the Philly area and gives a little slight to Jersey. And he gets super, like, on a horse about how great Jersey is, and it's such a great clip.
I'm so sorry.
What did I do?
You didn't do anything, like, you didn't say anything wrong, and I know what you mean, but when you said, like, he got on his high horse, but you said he got on a horse, I loved that. That was a little, like, foreign exchange student learning an idiom.
I didn't even notice I did that.
I loved it so much.
He got on a horse?
He got on a horse.
Yeah. Like, literally in the middle of talking about it, like, somebody in the crowd yelled something, and you hear him go, "Go Blue!" because he's a Giants fan, which is a flaw that I'll get over. But it's just, as I said this last night to someone who lived in Philly for quite a while at the thing I was at, as someone from Jersey, I feel like, even though we make fun of Philly sometimes, like, there's such an affection there for because it's the same sort of, like, blue collar, hard headed, like, everyone thinks we're assholes kind of thing.
And as I've talked about at length on New Jersey is the World, though not as much here. Mm-hmm. Our parent podcast, RIP.
Our dad, Chris Gethard.
Yeah, exactly. South Jersey, especially the part that I'm from, is so close to Philly.
Yeah.
Much closer than, like, even if not miles wise, like Bergen County and New York City very close together, right? But it's a lot harder to get into 100%. New York City than it is to get into Philly. And like, there, if you don't have a highly trained ear, you could confuse a South Jersey, a Camden County accent specifically for, like, a South Philly accent or a Delco accent. So it makes sense.
The Delco accents in the show are pretty good.
Especially when hearing.
And especially when you realize that, like, okay, so Tom Pelphrey's from Jersey. Mark Ruffalo obviously is not. He slips in and out of it. Like, he'll have a really good, subtle take on it, and then all of a sudden he'll say something that's too far. But the thing that's super impressive to me is the number of, and I guess this makes sense because actors from, like, the UK and Australia and places like that have to train really hard with, like, languages and voice and different dialects because they often are playing roles in America. Right. But, like, there's an Irish actress that plays one of the cops that is so delightful. And there's a scene of her in, like, a dive bar in Philly being the most, like, girl in a dive bar in Philly.
Oh, good.
It's so fun.
Nothing has made me want to watch it more than what you
Well, okay, let me give you one other thing that will get you excited. Mm-hmm. So one of the other cops that she is at the bar with in this moment has the last name Grosso, and previous to being a cop was a DJ with the name DJ Grossanova.
Great. Really good.
So, like, there's a lot of, like...
Wow, that's great.
If you've ever been to a bar in Philly, you're going to recognize parts of this show. So, I mean, as a crime show, it's, like, it's fine, but it's more about the characters. There's a lot of shots of, like, people swimming in a quarry, which is, like, a specific thing that I don't think a lot of people would think of. It's not filmed mostly in Philly proper. It's filmed in the areas in, like, around it in Delco.
Right. That makes sense. Relatedly, my recommendation, it's a self-serving one. It's a self-whatever one. But tomorrow, if you're listening to this on Monday, tomorrow, episode 500 of Beautiful Anonymous.
Unbelievable.
is out.
I'm so bummed I couldn't come to the taping.
We would have loved to have seen you there, obviously. It's a lot. But the good news is you can listen. And let me tell you, recorded at Kevin Smith's Smodcast Cinemas, which you are all familiar with if you listen to our podcast at this point. So we've talked about it a bunch. Firmly in, I will say, Central Jersey. The caller is not from Jersey, but has family in-laws from Jersey. It is a very Jersey conversation. It's really fun. It is really interesting. It went a lot of places I wasn't expecting. I think it's a great onboarding if you haven't listened yet. So I just want to recommend that tomorrow you check out Beautiful Anonymous 500. I'm really proud of it. It was really fun.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of the podcasts I've been listening to for the longest amount of time, before I even knew Chris or you or anyone involved in it.
And as I've said, I was a fan first. And shout out to friend of the pod, Melissa.
Yeah. Melissa
Joy specifically, who I got to say hello to very quickly. It was crowded. There was a long line. But yeah, so Melissa, thank you for coming. I'm glad we got to say hello. And one of our Jersey friends that has the best stories about pretty much every person we end up talking about. So let's see if she has anything to say about practical magic. But yeah, so that was really fun. Yeah, we'll see what her practical magic, like you just said, connections are. I think that's it. You can, as per usual, I'm going to run through it quickly. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Check us out on Instagram, WatchersPodNJ. You can email us, WatchersPodNJ@gmail.com. You can, I will remind you, nobody has taken us up on it yet. Give us a call. Call the voicemail and leave Jodie a happy birthday message. 856-336-8986.
And you can find me on Instagram at Jodie_Mim, JODIE_MIM.
And I'm at AQ And now there are only 3 little things left to do, Jodie.
Oh, yeah. You got to bang yourself in the head, get in the car, and go to New Jersey.